Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is John with Tommy's Top Picks here to bring you your weekly flesh and blood market update. Let's go. What do we got today? Well, looks like the Rudy stuff finally circulated the market and hit it. I'm not sure if that's actually the reason or if it's the macro environment, which is in a state of stress. I'm starting to see the first indications of the press getting a hold of the data that I've been talking about for a while now. Essentially, one of the key factors is that they're focusing on, which I think is a reasonable place to focus, is that there's economic retraction in X number of states. It's a number that I've seen, tossed around. I haven't mentioned it because it's really not the only thing. There's so many other things to look at, but starting to see 21 states, 25 states, 24 states, depending on the day. It does depend, right, because it changes as new economic data comes in, and we do have kind of a bump up right now that we were talking about with the labor market. So that will, once the next state data comes out, it will probably say less states for this next reporting. But because the way these cycles happen and these reportings happen, it'll probably take a little bit before it all kind of kicks in. But point being, media is starting to talk about it, which starts to get people to think about it that would not normally think about it, which then starts becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. At this stage, I would say still same sort of plan and thought process for this upcoming year, seeing a macro level decline, seeing jobs lost, seeing, some sort of recession, the uninversion of the yield curve, etc. At this stage, I would say we're, within the window of possibility when this could start to happen. I said 6 months at the end of last year. Basically, the first half of this year is my expectation to see this come into fruition. I could be wrong. The timing part is the hardest part. It could end up being the later half of the year, but that would be a little bit weird and unusual for based on history. Anyways, point being, macro is got negative headwinds and will cause downward trends. This is happening in cardboard space. I don't know if it's macro, if it's Rudy. I'm guessing it's more likely Rudy because that's more immediate. And not to say that Rudy caused a crash in the fab market. Just the sentiment he expressed. I know other people are feeling the same frustration, right? That MAP isn't holding and that the MAP policy isn't really working, and it basically is disadvantageous to companies that are, LGSs that are trying to be honest and do the right thing. They're basically forced to sell using discount programs and other, kind of workarounds because that policy doesn't really work. And so now you have this kind of market dump situation where people get desperate, and then the prices go down. That's what happens. Too much supply, not enough demand, and prices are artificially held too high. Reality is when you print the cards inside the boxes to a level that they are, essentially overprinted or very, very affordable, which I know a lot of people like the playable cards, the player's market situation. They want to be able to afford the game. I get that. But when you do that, you can't expect box prices to stay up, right? They're just penny cards, right? So why would a box be more than penny boxes, right? How many cards are in a box? Multiply it by the penny average of your cards, right? And I know there's a pull rate and all that stuff, but when the EV on the box is expressly low, that's near the market price. There can be a minor premium for that gambler's, the gambler's premium, basically, in case you hit an eye or whatever, right? But that premium, that's what we track in all these charts, is typically only a small percentage above baseline EV, baseline price, until it gets older and there's less and less of them. Then it becomes a bigger and bigger thing because it really is like gambling on history of a type of product. And we haven't hit that point with any of the products yet. The closest is WTR Unlimited, ARC Unlimited, which we saw a jump in price to 99, and it's been stable there. That's a very normal looking kind of chart. So anyways, enough rambling. Let's jump into the boxes. We'll talk about where we are, and then we'll talk about a few things in the market that might be interesting grabs for those of you that are playing the game that really want to get some of the cooler stuff at a good price. So anyways, nothing too much in Unlimited except for Mon Unlimited at $50 a box, down 16%. Now that's a big number, but it's actually higher than it was at the jump. So this is technically an upward trend. We'll look at the chart, but basically It spiked to 58. It cooled to 50. Let's see where it is next week to really get a sense of it. If it comes back down to below 47, then we'll say, okay, it was just like a completely artificial move and it's still on a downward trend. If it holds there, then it may be like a step up to the next side. I don't think that's really the case. I guess the question is, how good is Angelaris and how many heralds do you need? As that meta gets worked out, this price will resolve. But I have a feeling that that's what this is about. And what it ends up, you know, coming down to is that it's moving boxes, which is awesome. There's a little bit of distortion in it, a little artificial, spike in the price there, or minimal spike in the price, and it's kind of reverting to the mean. Maybe on a long-term uptrend if Prism is that good, or medium term, let's call it uptrend. If Prism is that good, if Prism is competitive but not over the top overpowered, then expect it to follow macro trends, right? Down, decline, right? There's just nothing more to it. That's how the market's going to be this year, I suspect. Moving on down to the first edition boxes. ARC first edition is down 4.89%. Honorable mention to 1800. I think that is the lowest we've ever tracked. Just want to double check. No, we have 1280 back here, 1000 back here. Okay, yeah, no, this is not the lowest. So we're still in the mid range of this price for ARC. In this case, I call this macro trend movement. It's a pretty big move, so keep an eye on it to see if it declines quickly. But really, nothing special there. It's just a macro decline, as we've been talking about since last year. Moving on to Everfest, it came back down from its crazy spike. I have no idea what that was about, other than people like to crack it for the singles because the Majestics are really good. Definitely spiked up. It's holding. This is, even though it's a 4.92% honorable mention decline, it's still in the 60s from where it was before in the 50s and 40s, right? So this is an actual upward trend. I know it's a decline in price this week, but it's still on the upward trend. Let's wait a few weeks to let it resolve because, again, we had a spike bubble last week, so you can't rely on this being a holding position until it resolves over a couple weeks. Moving on to the next one that actually triggered is Uprising is down 9.84%. To 61 from 67. It seems like a regular decline that we see with every set. It's been out for a while. It's not super exciting. It's not relevant to the meta that's coming up. So this seems very natural. Nothing unusual here. Dynasty up 7.59% to 79 a box. I actually have no idea why that's the case. It is still bouncing around in this channel here. These kind of 70 to 80 range, which we've been in for quite some time. I wonder if there was any particular driver. Yeah, we've been in that area for a long time, like months. So this is a flat box, which is cool. Dynasty seems to be a pretty solid box. They did something right with it. I'm curious what that is, other than just having stuff for every class. If what might have spiked it this time? Is there warrior special stuff? Is it the axe? There was some people talking about the axe, including Tommy, in the warrior, that new warrior, Olympia, I think, playing with the big axe. And if he's playing that axe, that Marvel axe, yeah, I bet you know what it is. It's rock. It's the axe. It's the Marvel weapons. That's probably what's driving this up, because I bet a lot of those are going to get some play with heavy hitters, which, by the way, looks like an awesome set. Check out the podcast if you want to hear us ramble about it for a while. Outsiders down 4.69%, another honorable mention. Let's see, nothing really special here. We were in this range, $1 higher, 2-3 months ago. Yeah, this is just the regular decline of the last draft set being boring. Especially with Evo out and people doing that one instead at their local shop. Nothing else there. Moving on to first edition cases. Crew down 9.98% to 2,200. I believe. Is this the lowest we have? I know I check this stuff every week. I should have it memorized. No, we've been lower. Okay, yeah, we've been lower 6 months ago or something. So yeah, all this stuff is going to cool off for a while. We had the big spike. Fab came back from the downtrend after 2020 faster than anything else. It's resetting towards a market trend faster than everything else. I really don't see this as a huge downturn for Fab and what's going on here. I think most of it's pretty reasonable and mostly macro driven, honestly, which, is a player market if you think about it, because what drives macro into this market, right? It's people's personal wallets being impacted. And when their personal wallet is impacted, they can't spend as much on cards, right? And so that changes the market dynamic. So, yeah, it's a player driven market. It's a macro driven market. I fully see these things as interrelated, and far less so than the investment risk off component, which I know I've said in the past, but that's also a factor, or has been a factor, because there are collectors that collect this stuff and spend pretty large sums of money that move the market. That said, I think there's less of that now, more of the players, like we were talking about, and more of the macro will feed into the market as a result of that. Something interesting is that collectors do seem to be buying. Let's go ahead and jump over to some cards. So first off, I'll say Heart of Fyendel is coming down pretty quickly. If you look at the 1-year chart, way off its highs. And I think we will continue to see sales in this 240 range pretty regularly. If you have been looking for it and didn't want to pay 500 for it, you're getting to the range where it's probably going to flatline. It may go a little lower. I don't know. There's questions there. There's questions around that. But the reality is that this is still a high demand card, and I do expect it to hold up for a while. But how low it goes is a question mark. Maybe 200. I really have a hard time imagining it below 200, but that's me, and I'm definitely biased. So some of these cards, this is what I was talking about, they're being collected. The cold foils are selling. A lot of people, I guess, getting shaken and trying to move off of cold foils they have or whatever, and people are buying. I know specific collectors, big collectors like Saint and those are still buying. So now how much are they buying? I don't know. Are they moving markets? I don't know. I wouldn't say that. I just know that they are still out there buying cold foils and things like that. So point being, some collectors are still in on Fab and pushing Fab and interested in Fab. So I think it's still a reasonable place to, if you believe in the product, if you love the game, if you want to hold on to, fond memories of your Pro Tour or whatever, like that, it's a perfectly fine place to be. Again, as always, not financial advice. And again, as always, if you have your life sorted out, your bills paid for, you're not doing it on credit cards, and that sort of thing. So keep that in mind. Be safe, be smart. Declining economic situation, you do tend to want to be in safer assets, and I always consider cardboard risk on because of volatility and the ability to go to zero. These are all realities and ways to think about it for a professional kind of finance, money managing type mindset, which you should have with your money. You should treat your money with respect. It's important. All right. Some of these I wanted to talk about really quick. Arknight's down, which is interesting because this one went bonkers not that long ago, and it's a popular one. It's moving. Obviously, Crown's always popular. Flamescale Furnace is moving. I don't know if Tectonic Plate is actually moving. This one always shows up on best selling on TCG Player. Well, it does look like it has some sales. Yeah. Maybe it just consistently sells. I don't know. Maybe that's why it's always on best selling. I stopped trusting best selling because this was always on, even when there was no Guardian even hinted at. This is always on best selling, so I never trusted it. Maybe these are just the most popular classes, the Ninja and Guardians. And maybe, I don't know, maybe they're easy to get into or something. Cheap. Maybe they're not too expensive or they haven't been historically. That might be it. Whatever it is, very popular, always popular. Like historically, I check out the best selling page all the time. Even having all the other cards in there. This is filtered by legendaries and Marvels and Fables or something like that. Even when you have no filters on, these two are always in the top like 6, always, like 100% of the time. And so I just stopped trusting it because I thought the best selling algorithm was broken, but maybe it's just they're good cards. People really like them. Your spring tunics are getting very affordable. Definitely keep an eye on this if you are in the market for that. You want to get one for yourself. There's some very affordable ones out there now. Some of the Fables are cheap, $68 for the Plague Hive, which is a usable one, $20 for the Blood of Drakai. Footsteps, which I know people have complained about in the past when the hotness was all there for Prism. They're the cheapest I've seen them in a long, long time, down to 130, and I imagine they're gonna be in that range for a while, assuming the new Angel Aris is good. I noticed this Command and Conquer Marvel has been coming down and no sales since November. So if this is something you want to pick up for yourself and this is a affordable price range, it could come much further down. So I don't know that this is the right time to pick it up, but I just thought I'd point those out. Let me just skim through the next real quick. Yeah, the heart was the other one I wanted to talk about. Yeah, I think everything else is pretty par for the course. Some of the angels and dragons have come down a little bit, but not much. I imagine Rampart has gone up. Yeah, Rampart's going up because of the Guardian hype. Yeah, it went from 40s to 60s like overnight. No surprise there. That's definitely going to be a thing with Millstone. That guy's going to be awesome and annoying. Grandeur, does this go up? No, still on the way down. Let's see. Overall trend is down. Yeah, 130 for Grandeur of Valahai. That's a Guardian card. I don't know if that's going to be used. Yeah, Seismic Surges are good, right? Yeah, seems it. Yeah, but Tumultize stayed basically the same. Figment of Protection stayed basically the same. So, despite some movements from the macro and maybe from the Rudy news, nothing crazy has happened to the Flesh and Blood market. So, I think, was it Fluke was the one who said he didn't think that this would have a long-term impact on the market. I think that's probably a good take, that while there'll be some volatility in the short term, long-term Rudy's, involvement or non-involvement isn't really going to make a big difference to the overall market, but we'll have to see how that goes. I think his hype on new set releases will be missed and is something that needs to be replaced with a new marketing capability or something, because he definitely built hype, even if it was somewhat negative, like with the Gem Keeper. I know people were upset about that. Anyways, let's jump to some charts. Let's take a look. Just my opinions, nothing of very good importance. It's just what my rambling head thinks about when I think about this stuff, which is probably too often. Yeah, okay, so we're just seeing a spike in reversion to the mean. Premium's back intact. We had that small ARB opportunity. Yeah, there's nothing special here with Mon. I think we're just basically in this flatline channel, and it was some weird volatility thing. Nothing crazy there. All right, move on to first edition boxes. Let's just check out ARC real quick. I don't think we'll see anything of interest, but I just want to see. Yeah, nothing. It almost doesn't even register as anything. Okay, we're good. Let's see. Uprising and Dynasty. Let's go there. Nothing crazy there. The premium got extreme, but I imagine the case price will... Actually, the case price probably won't follow because of the map situation. The booster boxes, I think more people list those individually that don't have stores tied to distro, whereas the cases are more distro shops. So the case may hold and the box price continue to decline. Again, we've seen this with every one of the 2.0 sets at this point. Seems like they may just be a little overprinted or something. Dynasty is our good news for the day. And this one is a weird one. Yeah, see the hook back up. We got an ARB slightly available, which is actually kind of weird because the chart indicates it, but the numbers both say the same number. Maybe it's... it's a rounded label. So it's 50 cent ARB. Interesting. I don't know. Let's see where this one lands. We got to watch this again. This could be that this decline was artificial and we flatline in this range here, you see? Or it could be that it was too low trying to recover, and the mean, somewhere here along this slope, would be where it naturally settles, which actually would make the most sense with everything, assuming there isn't a good reason for these boxes to sell regarding heavy hitters, which, again, the weapons may be the thing, the Marvel weapons. If the Marvel weapons do get a bump over heavy hitters, then expect it to flatline or increase. If that is not an actual thing and is more a speculative thing, which this is the time in the market where it would be a speculative thing, then expect it to decline back to this, kind of down slope that we have here along this axis here, because that's just reversion to the mean at that point, and that's actually what this shot up was, a reversion to the mean from this drop down, and basically it really needs to be somewhere in the middle of the two spots. That would be its natural price equilibrium. I was about to say parity. I was like, that's the wrong word. Crew first edition seems worth looking at. Let's see. Okay, yeah, just the cases coming down. Nothing special there. This has had an incredible premium for a long time, so I think that's going to kind of come back to the mean a little bit. Cool. Well, that's it for this week's market update. Let me know what you think in the comments. I hope you're out there cracking packs, playing games, and enjoying this hobby that we love. Until next time, have a good one.